Hello, good evening guys. Here's another video that I'll be sharing with you again. So this time it's all about Thanos. By the way, for your information, it's no longer normal speed now because the file is about 30 minutes, so I decided to cut it in half. So I speed up again the video twice. It's still in this sketching stage now. Well, as you see, I have a couple of references surrounding my canvas. I really like to work this way, because if, for example, I'm working with a character and I'm not so familiar with the character, though I already have drawn Thanos when I was a little younger, because Marvel is what I really like so much, even when I was still very young. It is what pushed me to actually draw and draw. So I'm happy that I'm able to find time again to draw one of my favorite villains, and that is Thanos. Okay, so in this part now, I'm actually working on the anatomy. I haven't done any muscular characters for a while, so I'm kind of feeling it out again. But well, I'm happy to do a fun art of Thanos. He's one hell of a villain. Okay, so I'm almost done with my initial sketch. You see that I lowered the opacity of that. Okay, so this time I used the lasso tool, and I traced the area where I'll be coloring the character. Now I'll be coloring Thanos, and then I fill it with base color. Okay, so I'm done now. Working with the lasso tool because I really wanted to trace the boundary of the character wherein I want to have my coloring. So I also have done the initial color sketch of the background to just give me a hint of what I'm about to work on later on. Now I am working with my initial shadow. I actually use this a lot when I'm working on characters. I want to see the general look of the character before I go into the details. So once I'm happy with how it looks, I then apply the initial highlights. I want it also to look okay, if it will look fine. So this is my approach in working with colored illustrations. I prefer more often than at colored illustrations. I don't know, it's just that I love colors. So at this stage, I'm working on the colors of the costume, the overall color of Thanos. Most of the colors that I actually used are muddy colors. Okay, by the way, because of flipping, I kinda in the final piece, I didn't notice that I did have Thanos gauntlet in his right arm. It's supposedly be in the left, but my mistake. I actually wanted to do something about it, but let it be. Okay, so now I'm working with the shadows, pushing more the form, and then slowly but surely working for the details of our character here. Well, I am actually glad that I was able to learn about ambient occlusion. Well, ambient occlusion is great, but I don't wanna stick too much to it because it actually takes too much of your time. It's really kind of exhausting. But well, to have it in your art creation is well kind of good too. So I wouldn't mind using ambient occlusion from time to time. Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, no, because we as an artist kind of always pushing ourselves. So since I never did actually have the final lines from sketch, I immediately went to the coloring stage. I like to do this approach in working with my digital paintings, though it is kind of challenging. But yeah, without the line work, the line art, I need to check from time to time if the form is fine, if there are parts that actually needs to be redefined, well, it's okay, and I love encountering happy accidents actually, and I love also learning things, so it's a really great thing, to experiment from time to time and to always treat your artwork as something for you to grow, not only working on what you're already used to, but actually going out of your shell and trying new things. I think that worked for me. Here, it should not be that big of Iris, because it made him good looking Thanos. Yeah, maybe that was my fault. But well, as long as he's Thanos, well, for me, every art is an opportunity for me to learn something new. So try to learn things in the way. So well, this time, as what you see, I'm slowly working, building up, the form. One technique that I actually learned through experience is that you should not hesitate in going beyond the shades of the color you're using. For example, if the color of the shirt is blue, now it doesn't really mean that you need to color it all the way with all the shades of blue. You can actually use other colors, pink, yellow, gray, and so on and so forth, because you need also to consider the surrounding and the atmosphere that your subject is in. No, they will actually affect the color, also the time. No? Even if it is actually green when it is in, for example, in a dark area, you wouldn't actually see that as green. It would actually look black or something dark. So you need to consider a lot of things in coloring actually. Okay, so in this portion, sadly, my cam recorder crashed, and the part wherein I was actually building up the form, wasn't saved. No, I was able to record that, but I wasn't able to save that nice part of the process. No, at this time, no, I am now working with the glow of the infinity stones. This is actually in the finishing touches of our character. I am now putting reflected lights, rim lights for our character, so it would look 3D. If you look at him at this stage, he looks 3D already, but we need to make sure that he will actually fit in the background that we will be having. So at this stage, I'm now putting some smokes because it's Thanos now, as what we've seen in the Avengers Infinity Wars. It's all about destruction. So this one is about structures that's exploded. So there are actually debris everywhere. No, so smokes everywhere, fire everywhere. No, fire dust flying around. So these are the elements that I need to have in this scene, to make it look badass. I don't know. I don't know if I was able to achieve that actually, at the end. So before actually, I'm so used to using textures for my artworks because I really wanted to make it realistic in a way, but in the long run, I actually grown to being an artist that who is contented of just using the brush as inside, and if I won't be able to achieve that realistic look, I'm fine, because the important thing is that you're enjoying what you're doing. Okay, so now I wanted to show, the cracks on that structure. So it would actually help give that impression of total destruction. So debris everywhere. As you can see, I'm so fond of using the lasso tool. In my last tutorial, told you about that. And then whenever I use the lasso tool, I then play with the layer modes. And the layer modes that I actually use very often are multiply, overlay, screen, and luminosity. So those are my favorite modes in working with the form of my subject. So here actually now I am now working on the background, the debris of structures at the back. Of course, the atmospheric fog plays a really very important role now in creating depth in your artwork. So if you see, I am now working on the cracks on the ground. Yeah, because there's explosion. There is Thanos, so there must be cracks also on the ground. So, well, as you see, I'm kind of doing this one using the lasso tool still, but of course I created different layers with different modes, because I wanted to create that 3D look of the cracked background. And of course, yeah, that smoke that I did beside our character, beside Thanos, is to distance him from the background, because when I saw that one structure at the back is kind of almost the same in value with his leg, I decided to actually do some smokes in there, to actually emphasize, and distance Thanos from the background. When I do this, I actually smudge using water. You can actually check that out in my previous tutorial. It's really important to make sure that the background and your main subject aren't really having the same values, for easy read, of your character, because if your character is same in value with your background, actually it won't look that good. Now at this time, I actually am starting to merge the layers, of the character and then the background, so it won't be too heavy of a file, and I can actually work on Thanos and on the background more easily. So now from Paint Tool I opened the file in Photoshop. Now the Photoshop is actually my final touch. Now it is where I do my final touch in the piece. Why? Because in Paint side there is that blur effect, no, the which you can make use, which is kind of not in the paint tool side. If you want to use side for that, you need to manually do the effect. But in Photoshop, no, it's already there. No, it's easier to do the effect in Photoshop. That's why I actually open, the file lastly in Photoshop for the final effects. So this is almost done now.